Get ready to cook with the best. Join our favorite chefs in the Tastemade kitchen as they show you how to make restaurant-quality dishes at home. It's time to make this tonight.
What's up, everyone? I'm Joe Sasto. I'm a chef here in California, and I've been cooking in professional kitchens for a little over 10 years. Today, I'm inviting you inside of the kitchen with me to share with you some of my favorite summertime recipes. We're celebrating corn. We're making corn cavatelli cacio pepe. That's like an adult mac and cheese. And then for dessert, a burnt strawberry cobbler. To start everything off, I shucked all of these corn cobs. I'm just getting them charred up. You don't need to blacken them all the way. We're gonna finish cooking them. I just like getting a little bit of that charred flavor, some of that nice roastedness on the outside of the corn. This corn is gonna become the base for my sauce. We're gonna turn it into a corn pudding, but more on that later. Moving down over here, I have all of my corn husks. So I've taken all of those corn husks that you would normally throw away, and I've put them into a very low oven. I'm gonna take this and use it as part of my seasoning for my pasta dough. I'm gonna put them right into the blender, and we're just gonna process them into a very fine powder. Put the lid back on. I'm just gonna throw this through a bit of a strainer to catch any large pieces that may have not blended all the way. And we'll just be able to dust this right through. You can put this on top of salads, you could toss it with vegetables, but it's a great little restaurant chef tip to keep on hand. So we'll set this aside and I'll get started on my pasta dough. I've been spending a lot of time doing virtual pasta making lessons, and one of my favorite lessons to start people off with is a cavatelli. So it's a shape from southern Italy. It's a flour and water based dough. In this case, we're doing things a little bit differently by using some egg and milk to really kind of bump up that fat. I'm gonna start with all of my 00 flour. 00 flour is just a finely ground flour, great for making pasta. Then I'm gonna go with about a spoonful or so of my corn powder. And pasta making is one of those things that you're really putting all of your love and energy into. I fell in love with the intimate nature of it. You're doing something with your hands, you're cooking for someone else, and you're able to take something as simple as flour and water, or in this case, flour and egg, and you're able to transform it into something. This dough making ritual is something that we and our ancestors have been doing for generations, and it's something that connects us to our past. So I'm gonna go all of my water here, a little bit of salt, and because I am gonna use this dough for cacio e pepe, which is a cheese and pepper based sauce, I'm gonna start by some freshly ground black pepper into my dough here to kind of carry that flavor all the way through the entire dish. And then milk here, in addition to the water, is gonna add a little bit of extra flavor. It's gonna add a little more tenderness to the pasta dough. I'm using my dough hook. We'll put this down and then on low speed, just slowly work this together. So using milk in place of water in pasta dough, you'll find in some regions of Italy, it's not incredibly common. So I think something that really speaks to my heart and my sense and style of cooking is taking those traditions that I've learned and spent a lot of time in my career diving into and kind of reimagining them. In this case, adding that black pepper, that corn, a little bit of milk, things you wouldn't normally find in a traditional cavatelli dough, but still paying respect to that original, just doing it my own way with a little fun twist. What I'm looking for here is I still see it's a bit shaggy. So what I'm gonna use is a little bit of water here from a spray bottle. I always keep this on hand when I'm making pasta. It's probably my favorite pasta making tool. And I'm just gonna slowly work a little bit of extra water. And then don't forget, all of these recipes and techniques from today's episode, you could go to the link below and check it out. So once you see that your dough has gripped around the hook, it's nice and smooth and elastic, go ahead and remove it from the bowl. And I always like to finish my kneading right here on the work surface. So just giving it a quick knead, pulling all of those edges up around the sides. And now we just want to set this aside to rest. So for that, I'm just going to use a small bit of cling here, place the dough ball onto it, and very gently just pull the sides up, and this is going to protect it from the air in your kitchen. It's gonna stop it from drying out. So our dough is wrapped up. We're gonna just let this rest, that gluten relax on our countertop while we get started on our dessert. So we're taking strawberries and we're turning them into a burnt strawberry cobbler. So strawberries, half of them, we're gonna go tops removed, right down, split into a baking dish. Don't overcrowd it. You're looking for just one nice layer here. And then what we're gonna do is stick these in the oven under the broiler. We're looking to get charred black all the way across. Sounds crazy, but think about it like this. Everybody knows and loves s'mores, and those are charred. So by charring something unexpected like strawberries, you're actually caramelizing, deepening, and developing all of those natural sugars that are found in there. And you're gonna have strawberry cobbler in a way you never thought was possible. We're gonna get the other half of our strawberries and macerate them. Pull out all those natural juices and get them all flowing and glowing here in our bowl. So we're gonna go sugar right on top of the strawberries, a small pinch of salt, a bit of lemon zest here. And we're going just the zest grated into the bowl. I'm gonna come in here and give my berries a quick stir, just so they're evenly coated with everything we have in here. So these are gonna hang out on the counter. Our strawberries under the broiler are only gonna take about 5 or 8 minutes to get nice and burnt. When we come back, we're gonna turn all of this charred corn into a luscious corn pudding that's gonna become the base for our corn cavatelli cacio e pepe. All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm Joe Sasto. We're here in the Tastemade kitchens making one of my favorite summertime desserts. We're doing corn cavatelli. I'm right in the middle of working on my burnt strawberry cobbler. I have half my strawberries in the oven over here. These have been getting nice, roasty and toasty. I'm gonna turn my oven down to about 350 to allow it to bake once we get our topping made for these. What I'm gonna do is just take a little bit of melted butter. I'm gonna pour that right over my strawberries I have in the pan. And then I'm gonna take the macerated strawberries here and just pour those right on top. And then I'm gonna take a spatula and stir everything together. And then for our cobbler, we need now our cobbler topping. All we need is a little bit of flour here in a bowl. We're gonna mix all of our dry ingredients together first. A little bit of sugar, baking soda, salt, and baking powder. And then we're gonna add our wets to this. I have vanilla bean paste and a little bit of buttermilk. Oh, we need to come in here with the whisk. So cobbler, one of those things that always reminds me of summertime. Growing up in Las Vegas, felt like every day was summer, to be honest. But one of those things where my mom would often do this with peaches or fruit that you would find during the summer. So feel free to sub out strawberries for whatever you have available. We're gonna go our vanilla buttermilk now into the mix and just stir this all together. Think of this almost like pancake batter. Be sure not to overmix it. And then you could come in here, we have our cobbler base, all of our roasted and fresh macerated fruit. And we're just gonna pour our topping evenly over the top. I kind of like it to be a little uneven, a little bit all over the place, so that way it bakes in different pockets. It'll get bubbly, luscious, and delicious. We're gonna pop this back in the oven, about 350 degrees, 40, 45 minutes. Now it's summertime. We're back to celebrating corn. Again, one of my favorite ingredients. I think what I love about it most is that you could eat it both savory and sweet. You could puree it, you could fry it, you could bake it, you could roast it, you could grill it. You could really do anything with it, and it's absolutely delicious. In this case, we're going to turn it into a pudding. Starting with a saute pan here, we're just gonna melt a stick of butter. My family's half French. My mom was French, and I definitely took more to the liking of butter than I did of olive oil. More butter is more better, in my opinion. We're just gonna let this melt down into our saute pan. While that melts, we could come over here to my other pot. Now we also have all of the cobs that we've taken the kernels off of. What I have here is a small pot of water. We'll drop all of these cobs into it, and that's going to be the base of our corn stock. Think of this as a more specific style of vegetable stock. It's gonna have all that sweetness from the corn. It's gonna have some starchiness from all of the kernels. We're gonna bring this up to a simmer and then lower the heat as soon as we see it start to bubble. And we're just gonna let those corn cobs infuse into our corn stock. Back over here, all of my butter is melted. I'm gonna add all of my kernels that I charred and have already taken off of those cobs. We're gonna go a little bit of salt here for seasoning. Whenever we're cooking, we always like to season in layers. So we're just gonna get our kernels in here. So we're not looking to brown or caramelize the corn anymore. We can turn off the heat, work our way over to our blender. So all of the kernels, all of the butter into the blender. I love the smell of corn. It's like sweet summertime memories. Growing up, we'd go to the park to get outside during the summer. I know it was hot in Vegas, but we dealt with it. And my dad would always have corn on the grill. It was one of his favorite things to grill. And you know, we never did corn pudding. So this is kind of like, I don't know, a throwback memory to all of that. We'll start with our corn down in the base of the blender. We're gonna get this started. We could come in with our mascarpone cheese down into the blender. And then the last kind of little secret ingredient, this is a fun one, is xanthan gum. It's an emulsifier. It's made from sugars and bacteria. It's dried out and it's a thickening agent. What it's gonna do for our puree is make things smooth, creamy, and delicious. We use this all the time in the restaurant, and really all you need is like the tip of a spoonful, and it's going to bring our entire puree together. And then once you see that the puree is smooth, creamy, and thick, I just like to run it through one of these little strainers right here and make sure we don't have any gritty corn skins or anything like that. Again, don't be scared off by the idea of xanthan gum. It sounds like a chemical or one of those crazy additives. It's a natural product, and oh my God, I wish you could smell this. Corn pudding is one of my favorite things to eat. I will eat this by the spoonful. This corn pudding, while we're gonna use it as the base of our pasta sauce, almost like our creamy condiment that's gonna bring together everything, it's one of those great all-purpose summertime dressings that can be multi-use throughout your pantry. Last thing here, I just wanna give this a little taste. My friends, if you've never had corn pudding, it's gonna change your life. It's so good. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, that pasta dough that's been sitting on the side, we're going to finally turn that into some cavatelli. Hey everyone, I'm Joe Sasto. Welcome back. Today we're in the Tastemade kitchen. Right now I'm finishing up my corn stock using all of the cobs. We're gonna turn off the heat and allow that to steep and pick up all of that wonderful corn flavor. Then we're gonna jump over here to our stand mixer and start on one of our components to go with our burnt strawberry cobbler. One of my girlfriend Bella's favorite ingredients is rose. She loves flowers and florals and things like that. And I thought strawberry and rose was a great way to kind of marry those two flavors together. So to go with our cobbler is a strawberry rose whipped cream. We're starting with a very cold mixer bowl, a tiny bit of rose water. A little bit goes a long way here. You don't want it to be too overpowering. And then of course some sugar. And then whenever making anything sweet, I always like to add a pinch of salt. So we'll go down with the top of the mixer and start on low speed so you don't end up covered in cream. Trust me, I've done that before. It's no fun. I don't want that to happen to you. And then we'll slowly work the speed of the mixer all the way up. And one of the secrets to a really stable and long-lasting whipped cream is one, cold cream, cold bowl, but two, not rushing the whipping process. By working on a lower speed and allowing it to cream and aerate slowly, what ends up happening is you have more tiny air bubbles that hold more stably and it won't deflate in your refrigerator if you decide to do this in advance. So whipped cream, there are many stages. There are soft peaks and medium peaks, and there are firm peaks. I usually try to aim for somewhere right in the middle, somewhere around medium. What you end up with here is what starts as a soft peak that if you just take it the rest of the way, just a few more whisks by hand. That way I don't end up overshooting it and ending with very stiff peaks, but you can end up with something soft and smooth So this now, I'm just gonna leave here in the bowl, pop into the fridge until later when I'm ready to plate my dessert. So now the moment I've been waiting for, one of my favorite things to teach and to make is pasta. We're going with cavatelli here. We have our beautiful corn cavatelli black pepper pasta dough. I'm gonna use my bench scraper here to cut off a small piece of dough. We'll keep the rest under the towel. I'm gonna grab my mister here. This is gonna be for hydration management here. I like misting my work surface if I feel like my dough is just a little bit dry. I'm gonna use my hands and begin to roll this out back and forth into a long serpentine or snake. I'm looking for even size and consistency. The length is not that important as much as the width. I'm going for something that's about 2 centimeters, about 1/2 inch in width. So now we have our snake. This is our pasta dough ready to cut. I'm going to take my scraper or dough knife, whatever it is that you have. We're just gonna cut this into small little pieces. Each one about half the width of the dough, so that way you end up with a rectangle versus a square. So cavatelli is a great entry-level shape to pasta making. So all we're gonna do is take one of these little pieces of pasta, then right on our work surface, there's a few different ways to do this. You can either come in with your thumb and drag towards yourself, allowing the pasta to curl up over the end of your thumb, and you end up with a piece that has that wonderful little ridge or cup in there, a cavatelli. Another way is by using your index finger, coming in and dragging, allowing it to curl up over your finger, creating that nice, beautiful little cup that's gonna grab all of our sauce. For me personally, I like using a scraper of sorts. It's a little more ergonomic and they become a little more consistent. So you do the same thing, placing your piece of pasta down. You can grab with your bench scraper, press, and allow that to curl up and roll over the edge. I'm gonna be right here, rolling the rest of these cavatelli out. Don't go anywhere. When you come back, we're gonna put this entire dish together. Welcome back. I'm Joe Sasto, and today we are celebrating summer, focusing on one of my favorite vegetables. We're doing summer corn. I have my pasta water here. I just seasoned it. I have all of my corn cavatelli here. I'm gonna dump all of these right into the boiling water. While my cavatelli is cooking, I'm gonna get my pan heating up over here. This is going to the base for our cacio e pepe. The secret to a good cacio pepe is a dry roasting of freshly cracked black peppercorns. So we're just gonna load up the bottom of our pan here, lots of black pepper, and we're gonna toast it dry. As soon as you start to smell the pepper become fragrant, that's when your corn stock is gonna come in. By bringing in a ladle full of our corn stock, that way nothing burns and you preserve that roasty, toasty peppercorn flavor. We're gonna start grating our cheese. I spent a lot of my career in high-end restaurants learning the rules of pasta making. Now that I know all of those rules, I can't help but want to break them. One of them being not using only pecorino in my cacio pepe. I really like the nuttiness and umami that you find in a good Parmigiano. So I like going a little half and half action on this. Really kind of bring the best of both worlds together. So that's all together. Here in my bowl, what we're gonna do is temper our cheeses so that way they melt really nicely into our final dish. The way we're gonna temper them is we have them in a bowl. I'm gonna grab a little more of my warm corn stock, and we're just gonna add that to the cheese and stir this together. What you're gonna end up with is a much creamier and homogeneous cheese sauce here. All of that cheese is gonna melt much more evenly and easily. Jumping back over here, we have our cavatelli. It's floating. I like where we're at here. I'm gonna grab all of my pasta, come over here into my saute pan. I'm gonna grab a little more of my corn stock. Bring the heat up on this pan so everything starts to come together. So we're gonna take a little bit of our butter here, just a few tablespoons, add that and start to melt it. Next up, we have our corn pudding. I'm gonna grab a nice big spoonful here, stir that in. This is my secret weapon for an extra creamy cacio e pepe. We're gonna come in with all of our cheese paste. And very quickly, we're going to agitate the pan, melting all of the cheese. All right, now we have some pasta. We're gonna come over here to our plate and just very generously spoon everybody right into the middle. I make this every summer. It goes on the menu no matter where I am. Now just our finishing touches here. A little bit of freshly cracked black pepper on top. That way you get the toasted peppercorns and a little bit of the fresh peppercorns. I usually go a little bit more cheese because, come on, more cheese is more better. We have the dried corn husk powder. It's gonna add a really nice toastiness and butteriness. I like to add a little bit of chive blossoms. And I just like to snip these off and let them fall. And then we have our beautiful plate of corn cavatelli cacio e pepe. That looks awesome. That's not it. We have our burnt strawberry cobbler. So we're gonna go right in the middle here. A little bit of strawberries, all of those juices. So you can see all of the strawberries underneath. Oh, you smell the roasted strawberries. If you've never had roasted strawberries, you're in for a treat. We have our rose whipped cream here. We're gonna get a nice big spoonful. We're gonna go right in the middle. And then freeze-dried strawberries. You can find these all over the internet. Even some grocery stores have them, but it's a fun way to kind of elevate your meal. And then because we have the rose water whipped cream, I'm gonna use a little bit of dried rose. You usually can find this in the tea aisle. It's totally edible. It's dried rose leaves, and they'll add a really nice floral, perfumey flavor. And you know what? There you have it. Corn cavatelli cacio pepe, and then for dessert, a burnt strawberry cobbler. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope to see you all again very soon.